And then Buddha Matthias said this about taking up dharmas. So how really we practice of dharma? There's many ways to practice dharma. Even really if we kind of, how you say, put water on the floor, it can be very dharmic mind. There's many things we can think. However, here this quote, such that writing something. In ancient time, people need book, and not many people knew how to writing. I remember in my village in Tibet, one time my father sent letter to my grandmother, and she don't know how to read. And she tried to find someone. We went to one family to another. There's one man he knows a little bit, and he was not home. And then we went to many villages, not villages, families. So somebody read this, So it's like very rarely, even can read Tibetan. For instance, in Tibetan, I think in ancient time, like writing and reading is not very popular as of today. So therefore, here they're talking about writing, offering, generosity. So here, offering means always like something that you offer to, like more higher than you, then we use offering. And same things, if you give to someone, like similarly or little lower, then we talk gift. So therefore, that if you offer flowers to Buddha Dhamma Sangha, we always use as offering, not gift. That is how difference is here. I think English say offering and givings. So generally, it's like poor people who really needed food, clothes, and we give something, that we call gifts. Anyway, then listening, hearing, hearing. This is really important. I also mentioned many times, so listening, teachings, such that I met in Western many people that they think, they said, I studied myself in the book. I think that is, you cannot find correct things from book, unless if you already listen in many different ways of the teachings, then maybe you can find, but if someone never hearing teachings, try to find from the book and meditation, and think you will end up a little bit different situations. So therefore, it's always try to learn from the authentic masters, authentic masters. And then here they're talking about reading of the sutras, reading of the prayers, reading of the such book which you already knew. Read more and more and more, and you will gain more and more knowledge. Also, if you read with mindfully, I think your mind is very much joined with the meaning of that book. So that means book is, as I mentioned, really like picture of the Buddha's wisdom. So your mind and Buddha's mind become very joined. So therefore, reading is also Dhamma actions. And then Lambada Tongse. I think it is here what you call comprehending. What means comprehending means what?
Understanding.
Okay, I think maybe this like is all that who more like, I think some text they use as hold, and here it's a little bit different, but then something to memorize. In our, I think today's people is very weak to memorizing anything. Almost like we have this 4 sentence to offering, meals, Tembala Rinpoche. I think maybe even some people don't know these 4 sentences by memories. So in ancient time, we have to learn many things in memorize, and put in your memory. So in that way, then you can practice every places. You don't need to carry like all this bench of the back everywhere, I think many of us, there's full of bag in the books, all the time we need to carry, all kind of things. So if we memorize and that way, also the teaching says that, that how you say, this mind, if you more memorize dharmas, then their mind more sharp, and you can do more memorized and never forget it. Memorize means more like you really keep very strongly. So even your words you can keep in your mind, then meaning surely it will there. So therefore, memorizing is, I think, comprehending is put in the memorize. Then explain, and this is, and above that is more like to learn things, and then also explain, to teach others, and that is also, if we know really very correctly, perfectly, then we have to share. We have to share to others, to share, to teach. So if someone who really knows one book, I think, from beginning to end, very well, and then you can really teach. But if you know one part of the from books and then nothing else, then try to teach it didn't work. But someone, at least, if you know Bodhicaya Avatar very well from beginning to end, by wording and word, or meanings, of course, is very profound, deep, so we cannot really say everything I know, but if you know by words exactly what they are talking, you can teach, and that is the also very high virtues. And then katen kepadons, and then here is reciting such mantras, daily practices, and they will call katen. Even if we know, for instance, like the Longzhen, the preliminaries, or aspiration of the excellent conduct, copper color mountains, Yeshin Soja praying, Samantha Butter praying, these things are very profound, Vajra notes and etc. Really profound meaning, and also vast education in this. For instance, that excellent conduct, there's so many commentaries about this, great masters. So this is the one of the really very special aspirations or dedications. So if we know a little bit about meaning of those, then even you do reciting, it has to be joy, happy, etc. However, those recitation books, if you recite every day, that is also Dhamma activities. Then reflection on the meanings, meditation on your view, and these things are how we really practiced. These they put only 10 different things. 10 different kind of topics, and there's many other things. Here didn't mention circumambulate. This is surely for Dharma. Didn't mention building stupa, but that's also Dharma, And build a temple is also surely Dharma, So there's many Dharma things. So Chukyuchi is a Nyamsulam, it says, Nyamsulam, if you are really practice such like that way, and then your life, he says, then your path should be very meaningful. So happy life is one thing. Meaningful life is another thing. So when we talk about meaningful, there's two things, meaningful of yourself. Not only this life, but we need to be thinking of a little bit life. And then through this life, we can make also meaningful life of others too. So those are we call dharmas, Can be happy life even without dharma, if you have some kind of, how do be, flexible life or joyful life, can be very happy life, but meaningful is a little bit different than happy lives. So here mentioned, you should effort to be your life become meaningful with practice of such those mentioned. The other time you have seen but two badon, zonwadon, chebadon, tensen be pain, and likewise, Rinpoche says, even if you hear of the Dharma, kind of keep memorize of the Dharma, explain to others Dharma, and thinking of the meaning of the Dharma is immeasurable benefits, measurable benefits. And those are the really not just saying to make us happy, but it's really like that. So therefore, for instance, today or this week, we are doing these things. Hearing something, keep in mind. Someone try to explain, and many people try to think of the meanings. So this benefit, this merit, and these things are something that I think immeasurables, okay? Not miserables, but it's measurables. And then that is about Dharma.